It was the most wonderful thing that ever happened.
Good evening, Mr. North and South America, and all the ships and clippers at sea. Let's go to press flight.
If I sing into this thing, you mean to tell me that they'll hear me all the way in Brooklyn?
Well, at that time it was wireless, and we never heard the radio. It was the wireless telephone, as they called it in those days.
3,000 miles from home. An American army is fighting for you.
We'd appreciate it if anyone hearing this broadcast would communicate with us, as we are very anxious to know how far the broadcast is reaching and how it is being received.
I remember as if it were yesterday, that summer afternoon in 1907, when music was first sent out by radiophone. In that same laboratory many months earlier, I conceived and tested the first 3 electrode vacuum tubes.
Friends, you owe it to yourself and your family to leave the congested city and enjoy what nature intended you to enjoy.
Director of the Mercury Theater and star of these broadcasts, Orson Welles.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences.
Today, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
With about 20 different cars to choose from, Americans are buying more Buicks than any other car, so you don't have to take my word for the fact that Buick's the boss.
Get Pepsi several cartons at a time. Always keep Pepsi in the family refrigerator.
Because by the time a woman assembles a complete spring wardrobe, she's generally covered a lot of floor space in a lot of stores.
I created the phrase rock and roll in 1951 and was the first disc jockey to exploit the music under that name.
The people and eyes around the world are focused on these 160 acres here in Anaheim, California. This afternoon, Disneyland, the world's most fabulous kingdom, will be unveiled before an invitational world premiere, and you are guests.
CBS Television presents a special report on Sputnik 1, the Soviet space satellite.
Now, the rest of the story.
The A-bomb is hotter, so when you get the warning, don't stop to ask what's cooking. It might be you.
Spring at home, but unmindful of clock or calendar, the Vietnam struggle goes on. A Viet Cong ambush of a U.S. Marine Rough Rider truck convoy kills one American leatherneck, wounding 4 others.
In an age where the instruments of war have far outpaced the instruments of peace, together let us explore the stars, conquer the deserts, eradicate disease, tap the ocean depths, and encourage the arts and commerce.
I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago.
Dr. Martin Luther King, the apostle of nonviolence in the civil rights movement, has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Served to us by ABC News in New York City. John Lennon, outside of his apartment building on the west side of New York City, the most famous perhaps of all of the Beatles, shot twice in the back, rushed to Roosevelt Hospital, dead on arrival.
The crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger honored us for the manner in which they lived their lives. We will never forget them as they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye and slipped the surly bonds of earth to touch the face of God.
You've got mail.
The
The Internet is a vast network that allows computers around the world to communicate and share. Huge amounts of information in the form of words, images, are transmitted through the Internet, mainly by the telephone system.
Internet is that massive computer network,
Mm-hmm.
the one that's becoming really big now.
What do you mean? That's big. How does one? What do you write to it like mail?
You are a toy!
You are a sad, strange little man.
I am divorced, and I live in a van down by the river.
Life has taught me to just try and be the best that I can be. And I thank the Academy for saying to me that on this given night, I was the best that I could be.
OJ, you there?
This is for me. This is not to keep you guys away from me. This
I know that.
Me.
Nobody's going to hurt
this
you.
This is for me.
Okay, it's for you. I know that, but do it for you.
This is for me, for me.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never.
And I can't deny the fact that you like me right now. You like me.
Hungry hippos. Person to gobble up the most marbles wins.
17 seconds from game 7 or from championship number 6.
Naked man running around the house.
Open. Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls.
Apparently, a plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center here in New York City. It happened just a few moments ago, apparently. We have very little information available.
I just witnessed a plane that looked like a two-engine jet, maybe a 737, and it appears to have crashed into one of the World Trade Center
Trying
towers.
to get some information about exactly what happened. We don't know.
Directly into the World Trade Center. It just flew into it, into the other tower coming from south to north. I watched the plane fly into the World Trade Center.
Now remember, oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
The second building that was hit by the plane has just completely collapsed. The entire building has just collapsed, as if a demolition team set off. When you see the old demolition team,
this is a live picture. We're seeing the second World Trade Center Tower number 1 has just collapsed, ladies and gentlemen. That means both World Trade Center buildings have collapsed.
This will not be a campaign of half measures, but victory. My fellow citizens, the dangers to our country and the world will be overcome.
Victor, you are a terrible singer, you are a terrible dancer, you have no charisma.
Terrible.
I mean, everything...
No charisma?
No.
An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone, and we are calling it iPhone.
In just a few weeks, a Fort Pierce business will become a part of history. The last Blockbuster. Yes, there's at least one still around, and it's set to close after more than 22 years of business.
Could you explain a bit about this
Facebook?
Something,
okay.
And you're having to be a friend?
Becoming a United States Senator from Illinois, and now he will be the first African-American president of the United States. This is a moment so many people have been waiting for, and they're really excited, especially in Chicago.
I think it's fair to say that we're living in a new golden age of television.
Charlie bit me. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It was the most wonderful thing that ever happened.